You can negotiate a salary without losing sleep. You can return a $40 pair of shoes without flinching. You can tell a stranger, a coworker, even a close friend that you're not available. But ask you to tell your own mother, "I can't help with that right now," and something in you short circuits. The sentence gets rehearsed, softened, and usually never said at all. That's not a personality flaw. It's a pattern with a history, and understanding where it comes from is the only real way to loosen its grip. For most of recorded history, supporting your aging parents wasn't a personal decision weighed against your own needs. It was a legal and moral obligation enforced by the community around you. In ancient Greece, neglecting an aging parent could carry real legal consequences, prosecuted like any other civic failure. In ancient Rome, the paterfamilias, the family's male head, was bound by duty to provide for aging relatives, and failing to do so was a public disgrace that followed a person through the rest of their social life. This wasn't a private feeling weighed alone at a kitchen table, it was infrastructure, a set of expectations everyone lived inside because everyone was expected to comply, and everyone assumed the same care would eventually come back to them. What's different now isn't the emotional pull. That instinct is, if anything, exactly as strong as it always was. What's gone is the infrastructure that used to hold it up. The community-enforced, universally shared obligation of the ancient world has quietly become an individual, privately negotiated one, carried out mostly in isolation, often between just two people on a phone call. You still feel the ancient pull to say yes. You no longer have the ancient system that used to distribute the weight across siblings, neighbors, and institutions built specifically to share this exact load. Logically, you'd expect fewer people sharing the obligation to make each person's individual no easier, less guilt to go around. In practice, the opposite happens. When it's just you, alone, deciding whether to say no to your own mother, you're not weighing a simple financial transaction. You're up against tens of thousands of years of inherited instinct telling you that abandoning a parent in need is one of the most socially catastrophic things a person can do, and there's no extended village here to absorb the gap if you step back. The full emotional weight of an ancient communal expectation is landing on one modern, isolated decision. There's a second, quieter mechanism at work, and it has nothing to do with money at all. Role reversal. At some point, the person who spent 2 decades managing your needs starts needing you to manage theirs instead. Psychologists who study adult family relationships describe this shift as one of the most destabilizing transitions in adult life, not because the practical tasks are especially hard, but because it forces you to hold two versions of the same person in your mind simultaneously, the parent who could once do anything and the parent who now, visibly, cannot do this one thing alone. Saying no to that second version can feel like a betrayal of the first. In that emotional context, saying no rarely feels like an ordinary budgeting decision. It feels like a referendum on the entire relationship. But a boundary isn't the opposite of love. It's the structural feature that makes love sustainable past the first crisis. Unlimited, undefined support looks generous in year 1 and becomes unsustainable resentment by year 5 for both people involved. The families that navigate this decade best aren't the ones with no limits at all. They're the ones who set limits early, while everyone is still calm enough to talk about money without anyone being at their most frightened. In practice, this rarely means a single dramatic conversation. It looks more like small, low-stakes check-ins long before any crisis, asking a parent directly what their financial plan actually is rather than assuming, naming out loud with siblings who is expected to contribute what, and giving yourself explicit permission to say, "Let me think about that and get back to you," instead of answering inside the emotional pressure of the moment itself. The goal isn't to say no more often. It's to make every yes an actual choice again, instead of a reflex you never examined. The instinct to never say no to a parent is thousands of years old. The version of no that lets you help them for the next 20 years instead of burning out in the next 2, that one you have to build yourself.